everybody, we're wrapping up our series called REMIX today, where we've been talking about living out one of the things we say matters most. What's that? Well, when it comes to our faith, one thing that really matters is serving other people. For some of us, serving others is really easy, and for others of us, it's a little bit more complicated. But if we can remix the way that we see it, I think we will have the potential to make an impact. You know what a remix is, right? It's a new way to change up an old song. You take the original track, add something new, and remix it to get a totally different result. That's what we want to do when it comes to serving. Remix our approach. To start, let me ask you a question. If you could make one change in the world right now, what would it be? I asked a few middle schoolers and they said things like normalizing ice cream for breakfast. Yeah, that sounds like something we want. But for real, others said things like world peace. Others said stop bullying. Others said helping the unhoused. And then others said school safety. When I think about your generation and I hear some of the things you care about, I don't think of you as just middle schoolers. I think of you as potential world changers. In fact, if no one has ever told you this, let me be the first to say that you have the potential to change the world for the better. All of these changes, the big and small changes that you want to see happen in the world, you can be a part of making them happen, and I really believe it. Now, for some of you, that's super exciting. The idea of stepping up, jumping in, and being a part of the kind of change that makes the world better, the kind of change that serves other people, you are all in. But for others of us, it's not that simple. If we're honest, we might even say that it feels like too big of a job. Things like these can feel too huge for us to actually make a difference. The world is a big, complicated place with a lot of people in need, and you're just one person. And you think, what can I actually do to make change in this world? If that's how you feel, believe me, I get it. The idea of doing something to change the world is really scary. It feels like this big, impossible task that we don't think we're actually capable of doing. Because we think we don't know how to do it. Because we don't feel like we know enough. Because we're not sure where to start. Because we think we've made too many mistakes to help somebody else. Because we think no one else really cares. Because we don't know how to keep going once we begin. Because we're afraid we'll fail. When we put it that way, it's no wonder we're scared to step up and serve. But what if we don't have to be? What if we could remix the way that we see ourselves and our potential to make an impact in the world? And even better, what if we didn't have to do it on our own? Today, we're going to look at a challenge Jesus gave his disciples. These people did everything with Jesus. They witnessed him doing some of the most unbelievable and life-changing things, from healing the sick to calming the sea to raising someone from the dead. If anything, you'd think they'd believe that with Jesus, they are capable of anything. Remember, like us, these guys were human. And part of being human is experiencing the very real fear that you might not be able to do the big, scary, almost impossible thing that you're asked to do. I have to imagine that when Jesus asked his disciples to literally go out and change the world, they were a little nervous. Before we get there, let's look at what Jesus said to them. Jesus came and told his disciples, "I have been given all authority in heaven and on earth. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I have given you. And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." This sounds like a really big assignment, right? Basically, Jesus asked his followers to go out and do something huge, to keep Jesus' message and his ministry going, to literally go everywhere and teach people about Jesus. It's important to know that at the time Jesus said this, these disciples weren't these billionaire, private jet owning influencers with 1 million followers. They were just normal people. And on top of that, travel was either by boat, by animal, or by foot. So most had never even left the Galilean countryside. The idea of going into another unknown part of the world and spreading the message of Jesus, that had to be scary. But still, Jesus called the disciples to do it. Jesus gave them a big vision for the impact that they could have in bigger places. Did he know that sometimes they'd be scared? Did he know that it would be really difficult? Did he know that they weren't sure how to start? Absolutely. But Jesus also knew that with his Spirit, the disciples could do it. And the same is true for us. As followers of Jesus, we have the same opportunity to step out and serve others, to tell the world about Jesus in the way that we live, the way that we love, and the way that we serve. Is it scary? Difficult? Overwhelming at times? Sure. But are we in it alone? Absolutely not. Jesus' Spirit is with us every step of the way. That's how we know we can be a part of something big. Just like his disciples, Jesus wants you to go. And here is what going means. It means to serve, to speak up, to share his good news, to love other people, to remix the way that we see serving others. And he's also telling us that sometimes that means doing the things we're afraid of. But with him, we don't have to let that fear keep us from choosing to be a part of something big. Look back at the last thing Jesus said one more time. Be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Jesus promised to be with his disciples, always. Not just sometimes, not just when it was easy, not just when they needed him, always. And it's the same promise he makes to you and to me. As followers of Jesus, his very Spirit is always with us. He goes with us wherever we go. He's closer than close. So when we choose to be a part of something big, we can do it knowing that we're not doing it alone. I think we all have the potential to be a part of something big. And here's where we can start. Name what you're scared to do. I'm not talking about something like conquering your fear of heights. I'm talking about the thing you might be afraid to do that has the potential to impact the world around you for the better. Like sitting with a kid who's always alone and everyone makes fun of, or speaking up when someone around you is hurting, or volunteering at church to do that thing you've avoided doing, or maybe even signing up for the next mission trip. Whatever it is to you, start by naming it. Then ask Jesus for courage to do it. Remember, Jesus left us with his Spirit so we don't have to do this or anything on our own. Because of that, we can find courage in him to do what we might not think we can do to serve the world around us. Ask Jesus to give you the words, the thoughts, the wisdom, and the heart to make it happen. Finally, take a step. Do the next thing that moves you in the right direction. Instead of thinking about serving as a big, huge, overwhelming task, remix it. Think of serving as taking one step at a time. Take one step in the direction you want to move, and eventually, step by step, every day, you'll move toward making a big impact on the world around you. Just imagine what could happen if we all found the courage to follow Jesus' example. Imagine if we chose to remix the way that we saw our own potential to serve and make an impact. Imagine if we decided to be a part of something big. Like I said, I believe your generation is full of world changers, and that means I think the potential we have to serve others and make a big change is huge. And the best part, you don't have to do it alone. Not only do you have God's Spirit, you have the people in your small group. They are here to support you, encourage you, and serve right alongside you. So I hope you'll talk to your small group about the big thing you want to be a part of and the next steps you can take together to make it happen. Now, when you head to group, think about this. What's one small step you can take to make a big impact in the world right now?